Hello, happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Dev Rivers here from Invincible Gardens. We help people to create gardens and grow abundantly wherever they are in the world and whatever growing space they have now. And I'm just jumping on here very quickly to share our Tuesday tidbits with you. Today is all about some simple soil testing that you can do at home. So I'm going to share with you 3 soil tests that you can do that will help you determine your composition of your soil, also determine whether the soil is alkaline or acidic and if it's right for the plants that you want to grow, as well as determining the level of organic matter in your soil and if you have the right mix of nutrients and soil structure that you're going for with what you're growing. So what you're going to need for the first test is just a simple jar like this. Make sure that the jar has straight sides because you're going to be measuring. So what you're going to do is you're going to go out in your garden and you're going to dig down to root level, about 6 inches deep in your garden beds. And you want to fill this jar about 1/3 to 1/2 full. Okay. And then what you're going to do when you've got it full of the soil from your garden, and you can test multiple areas if you would like. When the soil is full, go ahead and add water to the top of the jar up to the shoulder. Okay. And then let that sit for a moment and let the soil soak up the water that you've added to the jar. And then go ahead and put the lid on and give it a shake, right? You need to shake it for 3 minutes. So make sure that you're giving it a really good shake. And then you're going to want to have everything ready because this needs to be timed once you've done the shaking. So when you set the jar down after shaking, wait 1 minute, okay? And then take your ruler along the side, and that's why we want to use that straight jar, and measure how much sediment you have in the bottom after 1 minute. This is going to be the sand that is in your soil. Okay, then wait 4 more minutes. So 5 minutes total from the time you set the jar down, and measure again. The difference between the original sediment, the sand, and your next level of sediment, that is the silt that is in your soil. Okay, and then you can go ahead, you're done for the hard work for that day, leave it for 24 hours. You're going to do one last measurement after 24 hours. Your third measurement, you're going to be measuring the level of sediment, and then you will get the difference will be how much clay is in your soil. And when we are looking at soil health and regeneration, we want to look for healthy soils that have 20% clay, 40% silt, and 40% sand. So if you find in this test that you don't have those levels, then you want to go ahead and think about adding some amendments into your soil. So if you have clay soil, you might want to be adding some sand, as well as compost, or maybe even some peat or coconut coir in there to get the right mixture. And if you have particularly sandy soil, you're going to want to be adding things like humus, right? Or things that are completely broken down carbonous material that will help the soil to absorb more water, because when we have a lot of sand in the soil, it's particularly well draining, but it can also mean that our beds drain and dry out. So if you do find yourself with extra sand, go ahead and add that humus, okay? And then the other test that you can do is to test whether your soil is alkaline or acidic. So we've talked about this in the past. Some plants that love acidic soils are blueberries and strawberries. And so when we're growing things, we want to have an awareness of where our soil is to begin with. So the way you can do this simple test is to just take a couple tablespoons of soil and put them in a bowl. And for your first test, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of vinegar. And if you add this vinegar and there's fizzies and bubbles in your soil, that means that your soil is alkaline. Okay, so that means that the pH is above 7.0. And the other test that you can do is with the same soil, instead of adding vinegar, add a 1/2 cup of baking soda. And if you add a 1/2 cup of baking soda to the soil and you then get fizzies, then that means that your soil is acidic. So you want to just be aware that plants and microbial activity and the roots of the plants do best in soils that are around 5.5 to 7.0 pH, slightly on the acidic side, right? So everything below 7 is acidic and everything above 7 is alkaline. So go ahead and try these simple tests with vinegar and baking soda and see what you come up with and if you have the right pH for your garden. And the last test you can do is to test for the quantity and quality of organic matter in your soil. So organic matter is really important in the soil because it affects the structure of the soil. It also releases nutrients into the soil that then become available to the plants if you have the right amount of organic matter in. And it's also beneficial for the microbial activity. So making sure that we're constantly adding organic matter to the soil and that we have enough in there to be supporting the soil life is really key. So the way that you do this test is very simple. You go out to your garden. I recommend doing this in spring, right around the time when the soil temperatures have warmed up to about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you want to go out and you want to dig up a cubic foot, so about 30 centimeters cubed. And then you want to lift this soil out of the bed and go ahead and lay it on something that you can spread it out on, maybe a piece of cardboard or newspaper, or if you have a big tray. But when you put the soil into whatever you're going to use to hold it, break it apart and look at the soil. If you have healthy soil and a healthy amount of organic matter in the soil, you will find at least 10 earthworms in that cubic foot of soil. And if you find that you do not have 10 earthworms in the cubic foot of soil, then you need to go ahead and be adding organic matter to your garden bed. And this can be done by adding compost. This can be done by adding food scraps, straw, leaf mold, anything like that that was a natural living plant-based product that is breaking down and is organic matter that can break down and feed the soil. Okay, so let's just review really quick. We're going to use our soil, the jar test for the composition. So we're going to fill it about halfway, a third of the way to halfway full, add your water, let it absorb just so that it gets incorporated, and then shake it for 3 minutes. Test it after 1 minute to get your level of sand, after 5 minutes to get your level of silt, and after 24 hours to get your level of clay. And that will tell you what composition you have in your soil. And then you can use the vinegar and baking soda tests with your soil, 2 tablespoons of soil in a bowl, and then either half a cup of vinegar or half a cup of baking soda, and look to see when you get some fizzing or bubbling. And if you don't get any fizzing or bubbling, then that means that your soil is right at neutral. It's right at 7. So you're just at the end of that range that plants really enjoy. And then the last thing is to test for the organic matter. Go out once the soil's warmed up to about 50, dig up a cubic foot of soil, spread it out somewhere, and look for those earthworms. And you know that if you've got 10 of your little wiggly friends around, then you're doing well. You've got enough organic matter in your soil. So I hope these are helpful. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what methods you try and what you discover about your garden. And I will be back here next Tuesday for another edition of Tuesday Tidbits. We're going to have a guest next Tuesday, a wonderful herbalist who's going to share with us. So I hope you will come back and tune in next Tuesday for our Tuesday Tidbits. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy testing your soil.